We used clean, safe drinking water to flush our toilets. And we didn't just do this once in a while in a pinch. Every day, millions of people around the globe taking what is arguably the most precious commodity on earth and flushing it away. And we do this despite knowing that less than 1% of the water on earth is suitable for drinking, despite knowing that it is expensive, energy consuming to treat drinking water. Even here in Atlanta, where we're battling with neighboring states over our source of drinking water, even here, millions of people every day flushing it down the toilet. What does this say about us? And more importantly, how can we tackle an issue like global climate change if our most basic daily practice is so out of tune with the realities and limitations of the natural world? Well, part of the solution is technology. This is a dual flush toilet, a very basic water-saving device, up for a little bit of water, down for more water. But technology is only as good as our willingness to use it. So part of the solution is psychology, cultivating a mindset for a sustainable future. And key to both is education. How will we educate for a sustainable future? Jared Diamond, in his book, Collapse, looks at civilizations across time that have failed. What he found was these cultures failed to pass along the lessons and tools necessary to live in harmony with the natural world. Those civilizations that thrived and survived, they passed along this wisdom through education, social norms, and taboos. Well, in our modern civilization, the university has traditionally played the role as the passing down the wisdom of the ages, along with our social values and norms of social behavior. Universities have also been the incubators of social movements over time. Think of the civil rights movement, the women's movement, the anti-war or democracy movements around the globe. Frequently, these began or were fostered at universities. Well, right now, all across the country, a sustainability movement is beginning to take root. It is quieter and probably less confrontational than these earlier movements. And you may ask, does it even rise to the same level in terms of shaking up the status quo? Well, we must hope so. The UN Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has concluded that global warming is a human-induced problem. Basically, the Earth's most distinguished scientists are pointing the finger at us. The solution to a human-caused problem must focus on human behavior. Yes, we need the technologies of the future, and fortunately, universities around the country are doing cutting-edge research into technologies that will reduce our dependence on fossil fuels. And about 98% of our federal funding for climate change is going towards these efforts. That's critical. But we can't just build, design, or engineer our way out of climate change. We must tackle the mindset that created it. Solving climate change requires culture change. And universities have a critical role to play here too, through education inside and outside the classroom. So what does this look like, this education for a sustainable future? Well, at business schools around the country, students are learning about full cost accounting, life cycle analysis, marketing in the age of climate change, green job entrepreneurship. This is not your father's MBA. Or to take the example we started with, toilet flushing. In a course co-taught in public health and environmental studies, students are given a bucket. They are asked to find a natural water source on campus and then to calculate how much of their day they will need to set aside for hauling water, just to meet their minimum human needs for bathing, drinking, and food preparation. The students then test this water to see if it's really something they would want to use. This is a life changer. Students from a land of plentiful, accessible, clean water are awakened to the reality of water scarcity for millions of people around the globe. These students will never look at clean drinking water the same way again. And this lesson is reinforced outside the classroom by having students live in residence halls where rainwater is collected and pumped via solar energy to dual flush toilets. For these students, dual flush toilets, collected rainwater, or gray water, these aren't oddities. They're just a normal part of day-to-day life. These students then become homeowners, and over time, flushing the toilet with clean drinking water becomes the new taboo. Or for another example, Nancy Bleiwise is a professor of behavioral psychology at Emory who instructs her students on the brain science behind culture change using the example of sustainability practices. The way our brains work, knowledge of a problem is not enough. We have to have two things: a sense of personal control and the creation of a social norm. To put this into practice, we've installed energy monitors in our residence halls to help give students a sense of personal control over their energy use. These track their use in terms of greenhouse gas emitted, the tons of coal mined from Appalachia, how much dollars they spent on the energy, and even how many hamburgers they could have purchased for those same dollars, trying to make it more real and tangible for students. The monitor also tracks how students are doing in other residence halls so that they will start competing, helping to create that social norm where conservation is cool. Of course, to educate for a sustainable future, the best classroom is no classroom at all. And faculty across the country are engaging in programs that use nature as their classroom, and the campus as a living laboratory. They are integrating sustainability practices into every discipline: law, business, theology, medicine. One of these faculty is Eloise Carter. As you know, universities educate the educators. And Eloise, since 1992, has trained K through 12 teachers on the basics of aquatic and terrestrial ecology, how to use those principles in their lesson plans, and how to transform their schoolyards into outdoor classrooms. We can never measure the impact on a child of being taken outside, out of the confines of his desk, allowed to feel the sun and wind on his skin, and to learn that nature has valuable lessons to teach. But surely this is a critical step in creating a culture that values the natural world. Who knows, maybe one day we'll have as our national policy, no child left inside. Universities are also setting up systems to support a sustainable lifestyle and teaching basic life skills like taking public transportation, riding a bike, how to grow your own food, recycling, and composting. These become such a part of day-to-day life that when students leave our campus, it's their expectation to have these sustainability practices. Now, I don't want to give the impression, though, that the sustainability movement on campuses is just a top-down administration or a faculty initiative. Far from it. Our students are demanding it. You know, you hear a lot about this generation of college students, the so-called millennials, and not all of it is good. You hear they don't have a good work ethic, they value connecting virtually more than direct human interaction. That may or may not be true. But what I have found is that these students are far more entrepreneurial and self-sufficient than earlier generations. They have seen a technology revolution grow out of a garage, and they believe that they can change the world out of their dorm room. And for more and more of these students, when you ask them what jobs they want when they graduate, they'll tell you green jobs. These students know green jobs are the jobs of the future. This past July, the Pew Charitable Trust issued a report finding that jobs in America's clean energy economy grew at 2.5 times the rate of regular national job growth. These students in all disciplines are clamoring for these green jobs. Let me introduce you to a couple of them. Emile DeFelice was a French and philosophy major at Emory, got a master's in international relations, and foresaw a career as a foreign diplomat. But as he studied cycles of violence around the world, he saw the connection with agricultural policies, and he decided to affect the global by getting very local. Emile is a pig farmer in South Carolina. His hogs roam a 60-acre forest and forage for worms and acorns. He has put in a more humane meat processing process, and he is providing his meat to high-end restaurants. His business is booming. Pig farmer is the green job of the future. Or Eric Fife. Eric, while still an undergraduate, developed a system for making biodiesel out of the used cooking oil at Emory's hospitals and cafeterias, and providing that for our bus shuttle system. After graduation, he translated that into a job giving biodiesel to Emory and others in the community. Eric created his own green job. And there are more and more students just like them who are eager to apply their creativity to creating a sustainable future. And when they leave our campus, they will expect employers who want to do the same thing. So be aware, if you want to recruit the best and brightest, they will look you up online and determine if you are a good global citizen. And they'll become homeowners and parents and consumers and employees who have become used to sustainable practices. And when they leave our campus gates, they are facing a future that is impossible for any of us to fully imagine. But we do know this: they will be facing the greatest environmental challenge of our modern civilization. And it is our obligation to prepare them for it. It's our obligation to ensure that we are passing along the wisdom to live in harmony with the natural world. And if we do our job right, our children's children, many generations into the future, will have a safe, clean, and sustainable world from which to judge us. Thank you.